Today we're going to be looking at AQA Language Paper 2, question 3. Now, if you missed the overview and how to answer question 1 and 2, please go back, check those videos out, and then come back to this lesson because I think that's going to be more helpful for you. And if you're not AQA, do not worry because the skills that you're assessed on in the language paper, whether you're Edexcel, OCR, is all very, very similar. So keep watching, you'll still find it helpful. Now, as we know, the language paper is quite cool because we already know what questions are going to come up. The questions never change. It's only the extract that changes. However, Language Paper 2 question 3 is particularly brilliant because we've already done it. We did it in paper 1. Paper 1 question 2 is the same as paper 2 question 3. It's the how does the writer use language question. For this paper, the exact question is, you now need to refer only to source B, children. How does the writer use language to describe the role of parents? Now, in paper 1, this question was worth 8 marks, so we wrote 2 paragraphs. But here, it's worth 12 marks. So we're going to spend like 15 minutes on this, maximum 15 minutes, and write, if possible, 3 paragraphs. So let's remind ourselves of the extract. Source B was an olden days one, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to understand, but it doesn't matter because we're only going to write 3 paragraphs, which means we need to find 3 juicy quotations. And that means 3 quotations that have interesting language devices and words that we can zoom into, and then we can ignore all the rest that we don't understand. Let's read it. It is a mistake to think that children love the parent less who maintain a proper authority over them. On the contrary, they respect them more. It is a cruel and unnatural selfishness that indulges children in a foolish and hurtful way. Parents are guides and counselors to their children. As a guide in a foreign land, they undertake to pilot them safely through the shoals and quicksands of inexperience. If the guide allows his followers all the freedom they please, if, because they dislike the constraint of the narrow path of safety, he allows them to stray into holes and precipices that destroy them, to quench their thirst in brooks that poison them, to loiter in woods full of wild beasts of deadly herbs, can he be called a sure guide? And is it not the same with our children? They are as yet only in the preface, or as it were, in the first chapter of the book of life. We have nearly finished it, or are far advanced. We must open the pages for these younger minds. If children see that their parents act from principle, that they do not find fault without reason, that they do not punish because personal offense is taken, but because the thing in itself is wrong, if they see that while they are resolutely but affectionately refused what is not good for them, there is a willingness to oblige them in all innocent matters, they will soon appreciate such conduct. If no attention is paid to the rational wishes, if no allowance is made for youthful spirits, if they are dealt with in a hard and unsympathizing manner, the proud spirit will rebel, and the meek spirit be broken. A pert or improper way of speaking ought never to be allowed. Clever children are very apt to being pert, and if too much admired for it and laughed at, become eccentric and disagreeable. It is often very difficult to check our own amusement, but their future welfare should be regarded more than our present entertainment. It should never be forgotten that they are tender plants committed to our fostering care, that every thoughtless word or careless neglect may destroy a germ of immortality. Right, so we are looking for 3 juicy quotations about the role of parents. So 3 quotations that I can really find different language devices in, I can really analyze and break apart. I think I'm going to go for, if a guide allows his followers all the freedom they please, can he be called a sure guide? Because it's got a list in all of that bit and it's got a rhetorical question. And he's basically saying parents are like tour guides. And if your tour guide let you do whatever you wanted to do and didn't warn you about dangerous things that are out there, would you give him a 5-star review on TripAdvisor? Would you say he's a good guide? So I really like that. I can probably talk about that. The next quotation I'm going to pick is, they are yet only in the preface. We must open the pages for these younger minds. So that's an extended metaphor talking about children being in the early pages of a book and we've got to open the book. We don't literally open the book for them, but it's saying you know more than the kids, you are wiser. And the third quotation I'm going to use is, they are tender plants committed to our fostering care. And I'm gonna call this one cremomorphism. If you don't know what that is, you need to go back to my language devices lesson and learn about it. But I don't just want to say metaphor again. Children are being called plants is a metaphor. So I'm going to be really specific and I'm going to say children are being compared to an object, plants, therefore it's cremomorphism. Because I really do want to show off my terminology to the examiner. I don't want to show him that I only know metaphors and nothing else. I'm going to give you a template now of how to actually write one of these 3 paragraphs. And I want you to copy it down because then that's going to give you sentence starters that you can use when you are writing your own 3 paragraphs. Right, let's do this. Firstly, the writer uses language to describe the leadership role that a parent should take. If a guide allows his followers all the freedom they please, can he be called a sure guide? Here, the use of asyndetic listing, that's listing without any connectives, just comma, 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 exaggerates how many dangers a child can face and therefore emphasizes the fact that it's a parent's job to keep children safe. The rhetorical question also makes readers reflect on this analogy in detail and understand that parents have a significant role in a child's life. Also, the writer uses language to describe the role of parents as moral educators. They are yet only in the preface. We must open the pages for these younger minds. Here, the extended metaphor of the book makes it seem as though parents have knowledge and wisdom that they should pass down to their offspring. The modal verb must connotes the fact that it's their duty to teach their children the difference between right and wrong. Furthermore, the writer uses language to describe the role of parents as nurturers. They are tender plants committed to our fostering care. Here, the use of cremomorphism makes children seem impressionable, making the role of parents seem instrumental in shaping the child. The adjective tender is particularly interesting because it cements how fragile children are and how easily parenting can go wrong. So, if we break that down, what I've done here is I've written a point that answers the question using words from the question. I selected a juicy quotation that wasn't too long, it wasn't too short, but it was juicy. I identified a language device and analyzed the effect of it, linking back to the question. I zoomed into interesting words in that quotation. And that's it. That's it. That is language paper 2, question 3. How does the writer use language? I hope that makes you feel a little bit better about this question. I hope you have learned something. If you found it helpful, give it a like and don't forget to check out the rest of the videos in this series.